If you close your eyes and imagine the most terrifying prehistoric cat you know of or have heard of, there's a good chance you'll picture the Smilodon, and it's really not that hard to see why. This iconic saber-tooth was a supersized feline that many consider the most fearsome cat the world has ever seen. There's certainly no arguing that running into this prowling giant would end in a bad day for most. But in some ways, Smilodon may not have been the scariest prehistoric cat out there. People often overlook that Smilodon likely wasn't some ravenous slayer that gobbled up mammoths and other large prey on the daily. Recent studies suggest it was an apex predator that specialized in hunting medium-sized herbivores. This hypothesis came from biomechanical studies showing adaptations for a powerful neck and forelimbs, including an extremely robust build that was not as agile as modern big cats, and a skull that could deliver precision bites. This surprising find was further supported by its habitat in Pleistocene North and South America. At the time, these areas were home to many medium-sized herbivores that Smilodon probably spent most of its time hunting. So now we think horses and juvenile mammoths made up the bulk of its diet, not the fully grown mammoths we often imagine. So it looks like Smilodon just wasn't as scary as we once thought. Unless you're a prehistoric horse, that is. But it turns out there's actually a family of prehistoric cats who could be perfect candidates to take Smilodon's place as Earth's most terrifying feline. These cats not only had more voracious and exotic diets, but also had a much more grisly way of dispatching prey. On top of this, recent studies suggest that this relatively obscure group of cats grew to be even more imposing than Smilodon itself. These were the Muscular, or saber-tooth cats. As of today, over 30 species of these cats are known to science, and their origins go back further than even the ancestors of Smilodon. The first Muscular evolved sometime during the Miocene, specifically about 16 million years ago. Strangely, very little is known about this first member. Its discovery consists of only a few fragmentary bones. In fact, to date, this member remains poorly understood with no official genus name. One of the only pieces of information we have is that it hailed from Africa, suggesting that this subfamily first appeared on the African continent. Whatever this cat was, it wasted no time mucking about. Before the end of the Miocene, the Muscular had already established a fairly large range, with multiple species present throughout Eurasia, Africa, and North America. These members were diverse not only in range, but in size too. Some, like Promegantarion, were small, only measuring 3 feet or 1 meter in body length. Others, like Machairodus, were larger, occasionally reaching over 6 feet or 1.8 meters in body length, akin to the size of a large, modern lion. That's a respectable size, no doubt, but these early saber-tooth cats were not yet the top dogs in their environments. They still lived in the shadows of other large carnivores and, in some cases, giant herbivores. It's thought that to survive, these cats took on opportunistic diets, feasting on anything they could come by. In some cases, this included juvenile proboscideans, as demonstrated by a unique Machairodus specimen which showed tooth marks on what appeared to be a newly killed mastodon calf. Along with the occasional proboscidean, small ungulates, rodents, and even fish are all thought to have been fair game for these predators. Although they hadn't reached their full potential during this time, they were still already utilizing the first characteristic that arguably made them more brutal than modern big cats: their teeth. Like modern big cats and other large carnivores, these saber-toothed cats were active predators who used powerful jaws to tear into prey. However, where they differed and what ultimately set them apart was their canine teeth. These weren't as conical or as short as those seen in modern felids, which led paleontologists to suggest that these cats couldn't deliver prolonged killing bites like modern cats. Now, your first thought may be that this is a good thing. If they couldn't hold on, then surely they weren't as dangerous, right? Well, not really. They could still capture prey that was plenty big thanks to their powerful forelimbs. But then, to dispatch the victim, which was often too big to be overpowered, they would use their saber teeth to deliver precise slashing bites, possibly to the throat or abdomen. This resulted in massive blood loss and a quick but gruesome death. Suffice to say, you wouldn't want to go out this way. Unfortunately for many prehistoric animals, this became a terrible fate, harder and harder to avoid as the Pliocene rolled in. The Muscular eventually took on a trend of becoming bigger and bigger with each new genus. During the early Pliocene, this culminated with Amphimachairodus, after whom the subfamily is named. This titanic cat inhabited both Eurasia and North America during the early days of the Pliocene period. It was already reaching sizes that rivaled the largest big cats of today. In Eurasia, specimens seem to have grown to be around 7.5 feet or 2.3 meters in body length, making them about the same size as the largest known lion specimens. However, the Amphimachairodus in North America could get even bigger, sometimes growing to be 8.2 feet or 2.5 meters in body length, which would put them on the same playing field as some of the largest known prehistoric bears. At this size, Amphimachairodus was starting to show just how problematic these saber-toothed cats could be. Within its habitat of Pliocene grasslands, it's thought that practically every herbivore and animal around would have been on the menu for adults, at least when they were juveniles. What's more, Amphimachairodus had another trick that made it an even bigger menace: its adaptability. Amphimachairodus is one of the very few animals we know of that actually survived major climatic and environmental changes. While we know that certain groups persisted, it's extremely rare to find a single genus that can be traced across multiple geological stages. This is even more impressive when you consider that a large adult would have weighed about 490 pounds or 220 kilograms, which is over 1.5 times the weight typically seen in modern lions. The reason it was able to survive has been attributed to its diverse diet, its ability to take shelter in more varied habitats, and its extremely efficient hunting strategy. This allowed it to go without food for possibly up to several weeks. With the world changing and prey evolving, there was nothing left to stop the Muscular from taking this family of cats to the next level. By the time the Pleistocene had rolled in, 2.5 million years after Amphimachairodus had first appeared, this cat had managed to expand throughout much of the Old World and had absolutely ballooned in size. Chinese specimens have been measured at 9.8 feet, or 3 meters in body length, making them the longest known felines around at the time. With this new size boost, many paleontologists believe that Muscular were apex predators who feasted on a wide range of prey, including proboscideans, ungulates, and even other large carnivores. But despite being one of the largest known cats known to science, Amphimachairodus would still not be the largest member to emerge from this subfamily. That title might belong to Homotherium latidens, possibly the largest saber-toothed cat of all time. Homotherium appeared about 1.8 million years ago during the early Pleistocene. The latest estimates suggest a length of anywhere from 5.9 feet, or 1.8 meters, to an astounding 7.5 feet, or 2.3 meters. At the higher numbers, Homotherium rivals Smilodon in length and potentially surpasses it in robustness. It was also ridiculously hefty for a cat, weighing around like 880 pounds or 400 kilograms, which is similar to the weight of a large Siberian tiger. Surely, seeing this creature would have invoked some pretty intense primal fears. And sadly for those with aliophobia encountering this cat, would have been far easier than meeting Smilodon. Unlike Smilodon, Homotherium is thought to have been a mostly cursorial creature that prowled around vast open plains. It could have easily set up chases on unsuspecting prey that were then dispatched by its powerful forelimbs and subsequently torn apart by its scimitar-like canines. Analysis of the areas it lived in indicates a diet that was varied and rather impressive. Prey possibly included different kinds of proboscideans, ungulates, and even an undetermined kind of early human. What's more, within its environment, Homotherium was one of the biggest predators around, both in length and weight, making it a formidable apex predator. It retained this status for millions of years. However, Homotherium didn't stick around forever. It seemingly went extinct by the time the late Pleistocene had started, perhaps as a result of the Earth starting to warm up. This warming may have resulted in its robust build no longer being supported due to changing prey populations. The end of Homotherium wasn't the end of the Mechaerodontinae as a whole, though. They continued to be quite successful in different areas of the globe. One place in particular became a hotspot for Sabertooth cats, North America. During the Pleistocene, many Mechaerodontinae popped up here, including long after the demise of Homotherium. In fact, North America was so perfect for these cats that two prominent and giant members actually evolved at pretty much the same time. The slightly older of the two was Smilodon, which first appeared during the Middle Pleistocene epoch 1.6 million years ago. While it was nowhere near as robust as Homotherium, this cat was still pretty giant, measuring around 5.7 feet or 1.7 meters in body length. Alongside Smilodon lived the American lion, which was even larger. Adults reached a maximum of 8.2 feet or 2.5 meters in body length. Its larger size actually turned out to be the American lion's trump card, likely playing an important role in its extended survival. As the climate became warmer and drier, Smilodon slowly disappeared from North America. Its specialized hunting strategy was no longer able to support its lifestyle, and it eventually vanished 11,000 years ago. With its extinction, the American lion became the last big cat standing in North America, as well as the last of the Pleistocene megafauna worldwide. The American lion managed to thrive for several thousand years. Fossils reveal that during this time, it showed a preference for temperate grasslands where it would chase down unfortunate and unsuspecting prey. This nightmare was no doubt a formidable predator, but carrying the torch for the Pleistocene megafauna didn't come without challenges. It coexisted with early humans armed with increasingly sophisticated weapons. Yet despite such adversity, the American lion managed to prevail and remained one of North America's top predators until about 11,000 years ago. This gave it an existence that lasted for nearly 300,000 years, a true testament to the efficiency of the Pleistocene big cats. But there is always a bigger threat, and roughly 11,000 years ago, the American lion met a predator unlike anything it had ever encountered before: us. It's believed that the humans who set up shop in North America made fairly quick work of the American lion. By 10,000 years ago, they were gone, bringing an end to this ancient subfamily of terrifying cats.